Hello Ride-On people, what a beautiful spring day. Now, my last video I took a bit of flack because I was riding around and saying that if you're not under any kind of lockdown or shelter in place, then as long as you're social distancing yourselves from others, then get out and enjoy your bike. And I still think that's largely true, but the world has moved on since then, and most of the world is now under lockdown, which is a different situation. Now, where I live now currently, we are in a shelter in place order, and a good friend of ours who's a biker lawyer in a local town, Alpharetta, on his Facebook site, he posted a video where he's rung the governor's office and asked, is it acceptable to take a solo motorcycle ride whilst socially distancing yourself in the form of pleasure and exercise? And he was told that they discourage it, and he said, well, is there any legal requirement that I should not ride? And they said, no, there's no legal reason why you cannot ride, it's just actively discouraged. Now, people must make their own mind up as to whether they should ride or shouldn't ride when they're in that kind of condition. Some of my friends are out riding today, for instance. I've chosen not to ride my usual rides, which would be typically a couple 100 miles, even though I can easily socially distance myself from others. And the primary reason for doing so is just on the extreme off chance I happen to have an accident, I want to ensure that A, an ambulance is going to be available to pick me up, and B, when I get to hospital, that there's going to be medical staff and surgeons available who haven't worked a treble shift to put me back together. And C, of course, I don't really want to be taken to an institution where there may be a large number of people with the virus to begin with. So I've chosen not to ride in the main. All I'm doing is ensuring my bikes are free of condensation, and then in 6 weeks or 8 weeks, or whenever the world begins to get back to normal or some form of normality, that my bike's batteries are not flat. So I'm typically riding around my subdivision and local area at very low speeds, and just basically warming through the bike rather than having a ride. So that's what you'll see in today's video. To create my GPX routes, I use the application My Route app. I have a 3-year subscription as a gold member, and that costs €80. To create a route, you simply go to your route lab, you go to your routes, you select new, select route, give your route a name, and that will take you into the map. To create a Garmin compatible GPX file, you want to select the Here map. And in terms of layer drop down, you want the Here default. Next, zoom into your location. Then you can begin to plan your route. You need to zoom in 100% to wherever it is that you want to start the route, and click right in the center of the road. Confirm the waypoint. Move on to the next waypoint. And so forth. Once you have your route, you can see your waypoints here, and if you click on the first one, make sure you're zoomed in 100% with this zoom in tool. Use the right arrow to click to the next one and the next one. If you're not happy with where the waypoint is, just readjust it by holding down the mouse button and dragging and dropping, and then you are good to go in terms of your route. To save your route as a GPX file, select Save as GPX 1.1, and that will download it to your download folder. If you open up your downloads, you'll see the file that's just been output. With a Mac, you can right click and share via email, and with Windows you can just copy and paste directly into an email. Okay, so hopefully you can see my iPhone okay. I've effectively emailed myself the GPX files that I've just created to test my route today. First thing I'm going to test is the BMW Connect system, and I can click on it and you'll get this long list of instructions, and all you need to do is press the forward or send button there, and then you can zoom along your applications at the bottom here until you find the one that you want. The one that we want is Copy to Connect, the BMW app, and that's going to open up. And now I have my route and track, and I want to import the route, so I'm going to say OK. Once I've imported it, I can just load it here by clicking on it, and then I can say go. Then it'll ask me if I want to go to the start of the route, and I can just say yes. Okay, so we're going to try the BMW Connected app for the first time, and you'll notice in the dashboard here there's a little white square that's hopefully showing up on camera, and you can see the map on screen. Okay, so in the square at the moment what I'm seeing is the speed limit. The route is being shown on my iPhone, but what I'm kind of hoping for is some turn-by-turn directions when I get to where I'm expecting to go. So up here in half a mile or so, I kind of planned a right turn into a cul-de-sac, and yes, it's showing up on screen perfectly. Look at that, 0.2 miles, turn by turn direction, 1,000 feet, 800 feet, 600 feet, 400 feet, 200 feet, and here we have the turn. Now it's asking me to U-turn in 400 feet, and that's correct because I put a waypoint at the end of this cul-de-sac. So now it should be asking me to U-turn, and now it's saying turn right in 400 feet, 200 feet, and now we're back. So what's good here is that when you're riding along and it just wants you to go straight or straightish, which you can see from the iPhone map on the iPhone with BMW Connected, you have all your regular clock display, so you know your speed, your revs, the time, the temperature. But as soon as it wants you to turn, like it's just come up now in 600 feet, it wants me to turn right, you'll get that turn by turn signal. Now it's still showing the speed, it's still showing things like I'm in Dynamic Pro, the temperature, I have my lights on, what gear I'm in, how many miles I've done on this trip, but it's got a turn by turn, and now it switches back straight away. So very intuitive, and very impressed with that so far, and certainly miles cheaper than this $900 Garmin up here. And bear in mind, this is a bespoke tailored map with my own waypoints in that I've just created online in a tool. It costs like 30 bucks a year for 3 years, less than that actually, about 20 bucks a year. It's not bad if this works, you know. And this is, bear in mind, this is a free app from BMW, I believe. I don't think there's any subscription to it in the USA. I believe there is a subscription in Europe for some reason, but it's free to us Americans. Ah, the perks of being an American. Oh, say, can you see? What an absolutely stunningly beautiful spring day. Oh, this is good. When you've been cooped up at home for weeks on end, never going anywhere, only staring at your work laptop, you're really ready for some fresh air, aren't you? Well, I've been kind of walking the block each morning before logging on, I guess. That's some kind of fresh air, but you know what I mean, guys. There's no substitute for getting on your bike and actually riding, is there? But as I said at the start of the video, I'm being extremely careful because of you know, the potential of a deer running out in front of me and knocking me off, and I don't want to go to hospital with a load of sick people who are already under-resourced in this time of global crisis. And so I'm taking it very steady, local roads, close to where I live, just riding on my own, nobody else.
social distancing. I say, her derriere is rather nice. Oh, see, and that's when you have an accident potentially, so keep your wits about you guys. So I should be turning right up here. I should be getting a message on the dashboard very soon. Is it gonna show? I think it may have missed the waypoint there. I'll have to check the map when I get back, and I'll let you know on the video, but I think it's missed the waypoint, and it could redirect me back onto the route, and if it doesn't, it's toast. So I really do love seeing the turn-by-turn directions on the big TFT, because it's a hell of a lot easier to look at that rather than a small iPhone. Even if you've got a large iPhone like I've got, I mean, it's not a big deal, but it's just so much clearer, and particularly in the bright sunshine when you've kind of got this black theme going on the BMW TFTs, which most people think are kind of the best in the business at the moment. I can't really argue with that. It's all good. Come on, little lady, get on with it. So if it was user error and I didn't put in that waypoint, then in about a mile or so it should direct me to turn right, and that looks to be the case. So either it's messed up and missed the waypoint, or I messed up when creating the waypoint, and I will check that when I get back and let you know whether it's a numpty, or most probably I'm the numpty. What we don't want is any Humpty Dumpty today, that's for sure. Look left, look right, look left, look right. That should be asking me to turn left, and it is. I say what's real nice about this, with it being showing up on the TFT, is that you end up actually looking at the TFT clocks more than the GPS, and the GPS really does distract you a bit from looking at the clocks and seeing what speed you're doing. And if you're looking at the clocks, you're looking more centrally and out, so you're more aware of potential hazards ahead. So I quite like that, it's quite nice. Down by the riverside, down by the riverside. So 800 feet left on Riverside Road, 600 feet, 400 feet, 200 feet. Do you know, it's quite funny looking at the old pedestrians, how some of them are like totally unwrapped, couldn't care less how they look, and then others are dressed up like they're wearing hazmat suits. It's really interesting, the perception of you know, the risk involved in both receiving and carrying and giving the virus. So it's interesting. What I know is that in terms of distancing, I'm a lot safer on this bike than I am walking around passing people all the time, especially those not wearing masks, which seems to be the majority of the people I'm going past here. Damn rednecks. God, it's beautiful. I really wish this virus thing hadn't kicked off. Got a brand new rocket to get service, first service, and should be out there enjoying it today, doing 300 miles, saying what fun I'm having. But instead I'm doing this for you guys. It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. Now, as soon as we turn left here, it ought to say right in about 0.2 of a mile. I'm liking the countdown. So you see, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little dash list on the right hand side, and it's counting off counters as you get closer to the actual junction itself. So nothing yet, 0.2 of a mile, perfect. Now it's saying turn right into this subdivision, and the counters there, I don't know if you can see, I'll get close, you might be able to see 400, and then not counting down yet, 200 feet, maybe it counts down after 100, yeah, 200 feet starts counting down, 150 feet, we're halfway through those tabs, 100 we're about a third, 50 nearly done. I like it, it's nice. I like the fact that the speed limit's on there nice and big and bold. I like the fact that the turns are very clearly indicated, and bar that waypoint, which I will check, could be a real success. This, it's a nice house, isn't it? These people have a very nice garden, and I just love this house with the columns. Always have. Beautiful. Asking me to turn right. Got a friend who lives down here who's a TV presenter who shall remain nameless. Very nice guy. Practicing pasta as well. Look at the beautiful colours of these trees. I hope they come out on camera. They're stunning. And the flowers starting to pop. Gotta love it. Destination reached. Route BMW. Connect here. Oh, I freaking like that. That was a winner. If that waypoint was okay, that is a winner. It's a winner. Chicken dinner. Time for the rocket.
And it's essentially the same for the Beeline test. Click on it. We do the forward or share. And we look for the application. There it is. Copy to Beeline. Click on it. You are good to go. You can save it, give it a name, save, and then when you go back, it's available in your route.
And the thing with the rocket is, first you have to turn its key on. Hold that down till it shows green. Then you can start the bike. Yeah, baby. Got 570 miles done. I want my 600 mile service doing, but the shop's not open at the moment, unfortunately. Now this is the Beeline app. Now really there should be a little circular discrete blob on here which would look very nice, uncluttering the bars on the rocket would look very sweet, but I'm testing the app out first. So this generally points the direction you need to go in and how far you need to go. 0.1 mile north, little dot on the right hand side, that indicates I should be turning in here, and that is correct, in line with the route. Now it's pointing backwards, which is correct, because this is a little cul-de-sac and all we're doing is a little loop here. Now up the hill. God, I love this thing. This rocket is just the most fun. It really is awesome. So this is the most simple basic GPS in some ways. It's just got a little arrow pointing in the direction of the next general direction of where you should be travelling, and beneath it won't show on camera I'm sure, but it's currently showing 0.3 miles, which is how far it is to the next turn. And we have a little white dot, it's on the right hand side, so I know my next turn is going to be a right hand turn, and it's now in 0.2 of a mile, and it's asking me to still continue to go forward. God, this thing is like being sat on a jet engine. It really is. It just really wants to go. So it's saying naught, turn here. It's waving me through. So this is taking me down a different cul-de-sac to the BMW Connect, and that is very, very interesting. They're very, very close, but it's taking me down a different one, and I'm eager to see when I get back and check the map whether that was correct, which one is correct, because that will determine it's a winner chicken dinner between the BMW Connect and the Beeline. Eric likes his Beeline. Did I mention that Eric with the TFC has one? See, now it's asking me to go right, and the same as the BMW did. So I think the Beeline is cocked up there basically. It should have it's asked me to go right too soon, and I think part of that is I think this pointer generally points in the direction of where the next waypoint is rather than the actual road direction, which is kind of strange because it's built on the back of Google Maps, is my understanding. It's asking me to turn right in 0.1 of a mile, which is correct. That was a slight hiccup there for sure. Now, the good thing about this app at the moment is it's free, or appears to be free for me anyway. Not that I think it's doing me any special favours, but I downloaded it and then just didn't connect to Beeline hardware, which is like a kind of like a big watch face really, and it looks exactly like it does on the iPhone if you can see it. And it just sits on the bars, which I love it in terms of discreetness, and it doesn't need to say 1,000 things. It needs to be accurate, right? It needs to get the turns right, and that's the key thing. Now for the route I planned for this, it is a left turn next, so that's correct. And now it's saying 0.1 of a mile right, which again I think is correct. So it's possible that the BMW has messed up one waypoint and this has messed up one waypoint. It'll be interesting when I go back and look at the computer whether that's correct or not. So the third and final test is to look at navigation, which is the partnering app to My Route app. And when I look in here and when I look for my routes, it's easy to load up. So this has picked up my first waypoint correctly, and my second waypoint I can see on screen on my iPhone very clearly. It's asking me to turn right, which is correct. Now interestingly, it's asking me to go right in a minute into the first of those cul-de-sacs, and it's asking me also to go into the second one afterwards. I can already see that on screen. So what it appears to be doing is following the correct route, and I seem to have put both cul-de-sacs in the correct route. So either I missed it when riding the BMW Connect app, and I'll have to look back through the video footage to see whether it was my fault or the app just didn't pick up this particular turning. But the Beeline certainly did. Interestingly, My Route navigation there just asked me if I wanted to skip a waypoint, and I think the waypoint would have been down that next turning. So that's kind of interesting. It means basically that they all perform differently. They all perform differently on those cul-de-sacs. The BMW Connect went to the second one. The Beeline went to the first one and the second one, and then this one just went to the second one. So I'm really going to have to check out the routes when I get back. So interestingly, this My Route app navigation is asking me to turn right in 1 mile's time, and this was the original waypoint that the BMW Connect missed. Now the navigation on the iPhone for My Route app navigation is probably as clear as Waze. Some of the things like the speed limit is a little bit small, but I like this big square in the top left hand side saying that I need to turn right in 1700 feet. It's very clear on the eyes, and at the top it says the name of the road as well, so you can't really miss it very easily. It's also got a track little play arrow here, and if you click that it will actually track the route that you actually taken, irrelevant of what your planned route was. That's kind of nice if you're exploring, or actually, you know, whatever route you've programmed doesn't work out and you end up going somewhere else, but you discover an amazing road. And how often have we been down an amazing road and you get home and you think, where the heck was that road? I can't find it. I can't think, was it here, was it there? Well, if you've got the track, you can always go into the website app, My Route app, and then you can just convert that track into a route, and then you can use it again in the future. So it correctly chose that waypoint there, which was great, and we'll have to see whether it picks up the next couple. Okay, just coming up to our next waypoint, and it's going across that perfectly, and then we've got a left turn. Woo, ain't she pretty? Left turn, that's correct. Look at that Roggy. Hello, you good boy. It's the Scooteristi. I'll tell you what, after this virus stuff is all over, it's certainly going to make people appreciate their lives a lot more. Getting out in the fresh air and the sunshine, there's the freedom of movement. You know, I would love to head off and do 200 or 300 miles today in the beautiful mountains, but you know, you've got to be sensible, you've got to be respectful of others, and you've got to be respectful of yourself, not just in terms of not catching the virus, but also in terms of not overburdening the medical resources available or not available if you're living somewhere unlucky like New York at the moment. And, my thoughts and prayers go out to anybody living in New York at the moment. You guys have got it really rough, and we'll be here for you when you come out the other side. NY strong. Yeah, them dogs know why we do it, don't they? We know why you stick your head out the window, boy. We get it. Life is good.
So firstly, let me say that it's very hard to beat a dedicated GPS unit like a Garmin. The problem with them, whether it's a TomTom or a Garmin, they're the most common used GPS, are the outlay for the hardware is very expensive, and then you have to power it by your machine. So there's some wiring to do there, or it's going to use up your 12-volt socket at least. And on top of that, you'll typically still have to program the route itself in a separate application. And in the instance of Garmin, they use the Basecamp application which they developed, and it's a bit clunky. Lots of people complain about it. They don't seem to support it and develop it particularly well, and there are better ways in which you can create a base format GPX file for Garmin, for instance. So what we're looking at here is a more affordable solution, and personally I don't think I would buy another GPS system. I think your phone is perfectly good. Let the software take care of itself, and just use your phone for GPS and power your phone via your bike. And if it's very necessary, obviously download offline maps and buy a phone that is waterproof. Other than that, you're good to go. So let's look at the 3 phone-based GPS systems tested today, and I would say with the caveat that I have tried the Beeline out a few times, and I've also tried the MyRoute app navigator a few times, and with kind of mixed results, but generally good. They've generally done exactly what I wanted them to do. So this is just how they played out today. First time I've ever used the BMW Connect system. I need to do more testing with that and practice more with that, but I did like it visually at least. Unfortunately, on today's test, it had the most waypoint fails. It failed to go down the one of the cul-de-sacs, and it failed to miss a waypoint when out on the main road. And of course you need a BMW motorcycle with a TFT screen to run that, so if you don't already have one, then this BMW Connect is not of interest to you, but if you do, then I would urge you to download the application and have a play with it yourself. Some of the things I loved was the super clear on-screen directions. They were just awesome. And when you look in the app is incredibly comprehensive. It will tell you, you can see your lean angle around every corner of the trip, for instance, that you took today. There's a lot of configuration in terms of preferencing. It's also no outlay, except it's brand new BMW, of course. So, like I said, if you've got a BMW, it's free. So download it and use it. Try it out, see what you think. If you don't have a BMW, not of interest to you. Beeline. I got interested in the Beeline a little while ago when it was a startup, and more recently my friend Eric with the TFC rocket, he bought one, and he likes a small handlebar display unit because it's very discreet on the rocket. It's not, you haven't got to put your phone there or a full-on GPS unit, and he loves it. He's really into it. In terms of things that aren't so good, it's obviously the very most stripped down, very basic information you can get. It just has basically the direction, how far to your next turn, whether your next turn is on the left or the right. Now, I just used the phone app today, and I'm very pleased that Beeline allow you to do that. It means you can actually use the software effectively free of charge, but obviously what they want you to do is buy the handlebar display unit, and for what it is, although it does look quite good quality, and it comes with the universal mounting strap, so you can easily move it from bike to bike, which is a really nice touch. But for what it is, it's quite expensive. I think the plastic case version is like $180, and I think the metal one is about $250, and that's really getting on for GPS type money. However, if you've got like a period or classic or custom bike and you don't want a huge GPS unit or even your phone cluttering up the nice looks of your handlebars with their internally wiring, it's a good unit to have visually. In terms of things that were good, in today's test at least, it was the only solution that had no waypoint failures. I was really impressed the way it fishtailed in and out of the cul-de-sacs, exactly how I'd asked it to do in the GPX file I created. The other thing I really like is a less distracting display. If you've only got limited information to look at, then you just glance at that, it quickly registers in your mind, and then you can look at the road ahead, which is really useful, particularly on a fast bike. And there's no cost if you just use the phone, and like I say, I'm very glad that Beeline allow that. I think it's a way of easing customers into trusting the unit, getting familiar with how it works, and once it's proven and you're happy with it, then you go and buy a Beeline, or you go and buy two Beelines, but pretty good overall. Now, I've tried a lot of applications over the years, and things like Scenic and various online applications for creating various routes, both for TomToms and Garmin's and other units and phones. My favourite by a long way currently is My Route app. My Route app is available for about €80, I think, for 3 years, and it's you can, just as easy as Google Maps, you can create your routes and save them in a nice online library for yourself. You can also download them very easily as exporting them in various formats, including GPX, as we've seen today. Now, they also have a sister application called Navigation that's owned by My Route app, and again, that's similar kind of money. It's about $80 for a 3-year license. But the nice thing is, if you go online and you create a route in My Route app, it's instantly shown in your Navigation app. So you plan it on your laptop where it's nice and easy visually, and then you pick up your phone, strap it to your bike, and your route is already there. All you've got to do is load it. So I love that. Unfortunately, today we had one waypoint fail, and when I was getting used to the application, I had a number of fails, but once I got really good, particularly in terms of being very specific with my waypoints and making sure I was using the Here map and Here overlay, I've not had any problems other than today, funnily enough, which was quite a surprise to me. When I rechecked the map, very clearly I had waypoints in both cul-de-sacs, but it only asked me to go down one, so there was a slight fail there. Second thing I don't like is there's no skip waypoint on the main screen. So with, say, a Garmin, if you miss a waypoint, you've just got a kind of skip button on the screen itself, and you just hit that and it will just instantly recalculate going to the next waypoint. My route app doesn't do that. So I think if you've programmed it in the app itself, which you can for Beeline and navigation, then if you've actually programmed it on your phone, then it will kind of auto recalculate going and just head off for the next waypoint. But if you've created a GPX file and imported it, then that recalc function isn't there, and you have to go for a couple of screens by hand and skip the waypoints. It's not the end of the world. It's very easy. If you're riding on your own, it really just doesn't matter. You stop, pull your gloves off, skip a couple of waypoints and you're on your way. If you're leading a large group, which I do on a weekly basis typically, then that is a bit of a problem. Everybody's like, why are we stopping? Are we getting off? What's happening and stuff. So I'd like to see that. But in terms of things I love about it, the GPS map style, on-screen directions are very clear. It's just as easy to follow as your Garmin basically, and do like the big button in the top left which gives clear directions. The app is directly linked to my route app online, as I mentioned, and it's also very affordable and also supports offline maps. So if you're out of signal area, the offline maps will work for you. So which is best then? Well, the bottom line is it really depends what you already have and also what you're looking for. If you own a TFT screened BMW and find the turn-by-turn more reliable than in today's test, then that's a clear winner, really. And if you want to be able to create routes online and have them instantly sync with the accompanying app and have a pretty reliable GPS style display, then the My Route app navigation app is genuinely a great option as well. And if you just want a simple and clear interface to sync to a separately purchased discrete hardware unit that won't spoil the looks of your bike, and in today's test was the only one to actually navigate without a hiccup, then you could do worse than go for the basic but seemingly accurate Beeline. So that ends today's test. They're all quite good, and I'd urge you to try them all if you have the opportunity to, and let me know how you get on with those and whether you use something different that you prefer.
Hey you, if you want to become one of the Ride On people, don't forget to subscribe. Ride often, ride carefully, ride on.